with Seeley Garcia. I'm Jennifer Seeley, and you're listening to the Women's Radio Network. We're streaming live across the globe and on your dial in Denver. So our next guest is Denver resident Elle Lothlorien, and Elle's first self-published romantic comedy, The Frog Prince, became an Amazon bestseller in December of 2010, and that was a distinction it kept through the summer of 2012 when it actually peaked at #1 on Amazon's top 100 list for humor, ahead of both Tina Fey and Janet Evanovich.
Wow.
So welcome to the show, Elle.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you here. Now, tell us, how did you get started writing?
How did I get started? Well, it's almost an unbelievable story. I literally came up with a story, a book idea, in the middle of the night, one night when I was living in Aspen, and it was the middle of the winter, and it was very cold, and it just was so powerful of an urge that I got up, wrapped myself in a down comforter, sat on the floor, opened a laptop, and started writing my first novel, which I never finished because, of course, most authors never finish their first novel. So that was how I got started writing. Now, of course, I'd written in college and taken creative writing classes and that sort of thing. But as far as ever considering doing it as a career, or at that time it was just a kernel of a thought in my head. So I don't even think I was anticipating a career at that time. That's how I got started. That was the day.
Can I ask really quick, how old were you when this moment came? Because, I myself, this is Melissa Garcia, by the way, jumping in. I'm 30, and sometimes I feel like, gosh, did I miss the boat for this? Did I miss the boat for that? So how old were you when you got that first urge to write?
It was the year 2000, so let's see, I'm 41 now, so that I was probably just about to turn 31.
Okay.
So it's never too late.
Okay.
It's never too early, never too late. The thing I always tell people, and I know this comes off as a bit harsh, but the publishing industry is harsh. The thing I tell people is, if you're sitting around thinking about it, then you're not a writer. Not yet. You can be a writer. You would be a writer if you were writing. As soon as you put the pen to paper or your fingers on the keyboard and start writing, that's the moment you're a writer, which is not to say that you're a published author making money, but that's completely beside the point. The moment that you're a writer is the moment you start writing, and you can tell everybody at that point, I'm a writer, if you want to. But people often say, my inbox is filled with a dozen emails, even one today. I've been thinking about writing a book. Listen, if you're thinking about it and kicking the tires, you're not doing it. Writers don't think about writing, they just do it because they can't not do it.
Very good advice. This is Jennifer again. So my question to you now is, when you sat down to actually start typing that first book, did you ever imagine that you would be a best-selling author?
Oh, good Lord, no. No, you want to know, I was such a nerd, I didn't have any idea how books even got published. I mean, I was a devourer of books since I was 4 years old, but I had no idea whatsoever how a book actually made it onto the bookstore shelf. So, like any good dork, and of course I'm living in the mountains in the middle of nowhere in Colorado, I still have the book. It's How to Write and Sell Your First Novel. I ordered it off Amazon, and they mailed it to me, and but no, if I thought I was ever going to be a best-selling author, I would have definitely used a pen name.
Oh, yeah.
But your name is fabulous, and you do a lot on social media, too, that just ties in very, very well with your books.
Thank you. All about the marketing.
It is. Now, with your writing, you've been doing this for a while. What has been your most gratifying moment to date?
Okay, I'll pick two and make them short.
Perfect.
And they're not going to be what you think. The first was in July of 2010 was the month that I published the book. It was at the very end of the month. The Frog Prince was the first novel that I published that became a bestseller in December of that year. But we're still talking about July, where I've put it up, thrown it out in the world, and sat there and thought, what now? I wonder what will happen. Yeah. And July, like I said, it was the last day of July, so I think there was like one sale that day. But honestly, I mean, that had to be my mom, right? So the next day, as the course of days went by, I didn't check the little thing that you can check because I just didn't. It seemed stupid to check it. And when I did check it a few weeks later, it was almost the end of August, and it said 18 sales. Now, that's not a bestseller, but that was the moment I realized there was 18 people out in the world that I didn't know, complete strangers, no ties to me whatsoever, who had bought my book and were potentially reading it. That was a life-changing moment right there. The second moment was, and this is very ironic because it happened a full year or more after it was already a bestseller, became a bestseller, and it's actually on the bestseller list again. Frog Prince keeps hopping back onto the bestseller list. It became a bestseller for the first time in December 2010, and you can, of course, it was an ebook in the beginning, and then you can go through this Amazon affiliate called CreateSpace to do a paperback run for people who want to buy the book in a hard copy. So I went ahead and worked with CreateSpace, and you can get all the books in paperback as well. But I remember the day that they send you the proof, a physical proof. They overnight it once all the cover art and everything is done, and the inside's proof. They send it to you. And when I opened up the box, and now keep in mind my book had been a bestseller for a long time, quite some time. And I remember crying. I opened up the book and I opened up the box, I was holding an actual physical copy of my book, and I remember I just kind of broke down. And I was crying, and I felt stupid even doing it because for some reason it seemed real.
Yeah.
Whereas here we were, tens of thousands of copies in sales later. How is that not real? I don't really know. Maybe it's because I'm old school and I come from the world of books you hold and turn the pages of. But those were the two moments, I would say.
Excellent. Now we have about a minute and a half left. Anything that you would like to share with our listeners about any upcoming books, any projects that you're currently working on? Sure.
Well, Alice in Wonderland just came out. I guess it's been about a month. Yep, little over a month now. So and in case you haven't figured this out yet, I write loose riffs, contemporary romance, contemporary fiction, loose riffs on fairy tales. So The Frog Prince, Sleeping Beauty Wakes Up. Alice in Wonderland is my latest novel, just came out. It's about a woman who, about 4 months after she learns how to play poker, wins a spot in the Final Nine, which is the championship table, at the International Poker Tour in Australia. So she has a little bit of a unfortunate encounter with a shark, and that kind of pairs her up with a guy named Rabbit, who promises that he's going to help her go all the way to win the multi-million-dollar prize at the International Poker Tour, but he might not be. Might be an empty promise, hard to say.
Perfect. Well, we have about 15 seconds left. Can you just share your website really quickly with us?
Certainly. It's www.Elle That's spelled ELLELOTHLORIEN, like Nancy.com.
Great. Thank you, Elle.
Thank you so much.